Hello, hello, beautiful. Welcome to another Thursday Talk with me, Suzanna Kaye. Oh, let me adjust my microphone. There we go. Nice to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about what is your organizing personality type and how can it help you declutter? So there are 4 organizing personality types. Now, in the description of the show, in this video description, there is a link to the personality test. So hopefully you can hop in and join me by taking your live personality test, your organizing personality test. And actually, let me put that in on the screen as well. Here we go. I have to type it in real quick. There we go. Just in case you don't see it in the video or you're watching this later, you can find your organizing personality quiz here, SuzannaKaye.live/personality-quiz. And this quiz will help you determine what your organizing personality type is. So like I said, there are 4 organizing personality types, and each of these types has very specific ways that they get things done and that they do better at organizing. So I figured we'd cover what those 4 different types are. And let me share with you some of the ways that you can work with your type in order to be more successful organizing. So if you've ever had trouble with some of the more traditional methods of organizing, they might just not be meant for your type. So if you are a Path member, remember you have your bonus Thursday Talk session at noon today, which is in an hour from now. And we will talk much more in depth on specific tricks and tools for working with each personality type, especially with your papers. All right, really quickly, as you hop on, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. I want to say hi to a few people before we actually hop into the different types and some of that information for you. I want to say hi to Sue. Welcome, Sue. Mary is here. Hi, Mary. CJ is here. She says, good morning to all on this bright, beautiful Northern California day. I bet it's beautiful for you right now. Good morning, Jean. Good to see you. And Sharon and Vaneda. Welcome, Vaneda. Glad to have you. And Ray Sean, looking good in your pictures, ladies. I love all those pictures. Cindy's here. She says, I'm a rarely organizing type. That's so funny. I love it. Hello, Facebook. Somebody from Facebook from Washington. Welcome. And Jean is from Richmond. Francie's here from Colorado. And Priscilla from snowy Michigan. Alice is here. And Suzanne, welcome, welcome, welcome. Love it. All right. Well, if you've already taken the organizing personality type quiz, then let me know in the comments what personality type or types are you. Usually we're at least 2 different types mixed together with one that's stronger than the other. Some people are lucky and they're kind of all of the types a little bit equal, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But let me know what type or types you are in the comments if you've taken this quiz before. Okay, so let's go over really quickly. What are the 4 organizing personality types? So we have our administrator, we have our counselor, we have our inventor, and our CEO. And as I describe each of these types, I wonder if you can guess which ones I am. I'm one very strongly. The other one surprised me even, but it made sense once I realized it. So the administrator, the counselor, the inventor, and the CEO. Like I said, you can easily and usually will have at least 2 types. Sometimes you'll have 3 or 4. Now, if you have 2 types, that means that one's probably going to be a lot stronger than the other. So as you listen to these different tips and the overviews, listen to both of your types, and whichever one's stronger, there will be more of that type influencing you. So some of those techniques, try more of those techniques, but sprinkle in some techniques from your secondary type. Now, if you are a more balanced between the different organizing types, that means that you can sprinkle in different techniques from all of the different types. So pick which ones sound like the ones that you would enjoy the most from each of the different types and try them out. Sometimes though, if that's not working for you, if the one that it sounds like you would enjoy it, especially if it's an administrator type, If it sounds like you would enjoy it, but it's not working for you, try one that you don't think that you would enjoy. Try one of those techniques and see if that helps, because especially our administrators, you fall into some very specific routines and ways of doing things that sometimes end up hurting you. We each have pros and cons for each of the personality types. There's no good personality type, there's no bad personality type, but there's definitely different ways to work with each one of them. So we will go over the 4 different types and talk about how to identify, what each type is like and some of the ways to work with organizing if you are that type. All right. So really quickly, good morning, Donna and Roberta. Nice to have you here. Welcome, Joe and Susan. And Donna says she's taken it and she's a strong inventor. I love it. Strong inventor. Connie's here. Welcome, Connie and Laura. Yeah. And anybody else who's already taken the quiz, let me know what type you are. And at the end, I'll let you guess what I am, and I'll let you know if you're right. Okay. And just a reminder, our Path members will go even more in depth at noon into working with your personality type, especially with papers. Okay. And if you're not a Path member, you can always join at the store. There's no pressure there, though. Okay. Let's go into each of these. So, my inventors. We have a lot of inventors in our group. Our inventors and our counselors are our 2 most popular types that I find in our community. And our inventors, you tend to be the more traditional organizing style. So you enjoy the details. You like things to be highly structured. You can handle a lot more detail than the other types as well. So not only do you love it, but you can handle it well. You're great with routines once you really decide on a routine and get it figured out and stick with it. And you are our finishers. You're good at finishing things, not as much of a starter, but you're a finisher. And you love to be that go-to person for information. So if somebody needs to know something that happened on a previous date in the past, or if they need to know a piece of information, you love to be the person who can pull up that piece of paper and give that information no matter how far back it's from. So you're kind of our archive librarians. You love to manage data. So our successful administrators, all right, the ways to be successful as an administrator. As an administrator, you lean towards when you aren't set up correctly in your systems, you lean towards having the weakness of over-organizing. Often you get too detailed. You create systems that either aren't really giving you as much benefit as the time you're putting into it, or that are way too complex for what they really need to be. And you lean towards perfectionism. So over-organizing and perfectionism, making things too detailed, too structured, that can be your weakness. So in order to be a successful administrator, and it's not easy to change those impulses because you love your details and it scares you to broaden those details and not get quite as structured, but successful administrators learn to use those broader categories when organizing instead of going to the micro details. Successful administrators also, they don't over-organize and create systems that are more complex than they need to be. And try not to create busy work for yourselves. So think about what you're doing, what task you've created, and if that return on that time and energy investment is worth it. So sometimes you love to document and structure everything, but some things you would be able to find that information or figure out a solution without needing a structured system that needs so much maintenance. So don't over-organize and don't give yourself busy work that's not giving you enough of a return on that time and energy investment. Because when you do, then you're not able to give that time and energy to the much higher priority items. So our administrators, though, you are the ones who keep all those details together for us. You're the ones that keep us on task, and the world needs administrators. We really do. All All right, before I go on to the next one, I just wanted to hop in and say hi to Thomas. Welcome. And Laura is here. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. Francie is a counselor type. I love it. We have a lot of counselors and administrators. That's awesome. Tom says, chaotic all at once organizer here. Pamela says, hey, from Mobile. And Rosella's here. Welcome, Rosella. Glad to have you. Nancy says, burr, it's cold in Colorado. Happy to be inside with you all and drinking a hot jasmine tea. Oh, that sounds lovely. Ida says, I'm listening. And Lori says, love your comment about too much busy work without realizing the limited return or project completion. Yes, absolutely. It's an easy trap to fall into, right? And somebody's here on Facebook from Utah. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here with us. Okay, so we talked about our administrators, right? Let's move on to our second most common personality type in the group, the counselor. And just a reminder, if you've already taken the quiz, let me know in the comments what you are, okay? I'd love to hear who we're talking with. So the counselor, as an overview, our counselors have big hearts. You tend to put other people first. So you are the communicators, you're the caregivers, you're the emotional ones as far as connecting to your world through your senses and your emotions. You love a beautiful or fun environment. So our administrators look at the environment more, less for aesthetics, although you like it to be beautiful in your own way, but you like your supplies and things you enjoy function a lot of times more than the looks of things. If it functions really well, then you're happy. My counselors, you love it to be pretty. And a lot of times if your supplies aren't pretty, you don't want to use them as much. So having a beautiful or fun environment that stimulates you, makes you feel happy, that's our communicators. But you people are the ones that tend to keep us all feeling connected. And you are the ones who never forget somebody's birthday in the office. So our communicators are our big hearts. And you definitely love to put others first and focus on others. So what does the successful counselor look like? As a counselor, if you are not functioning at your most successful setup, then you can fall easily into some of the weaknesses of keeping a lot of items just in case for other people. So just in case somebody might need this, administrators, you fall into this some too, but in a much more practical, detailed way, liking to make sure that everybody will be, safe and taken care of. With the counselor, you want to make sure to keep things just in case in order to help people out and in order to emotionally support people. So keeping things just in case, when that just in case is not actually even for you, that can be one of your weaknesses. Also, setting boundaries is hard for you. You will often do things that will hurt yourself in order to help somebody else. And you have a hard time sometimes with motivation and focus. If it's something that just you have decided to do for yourself, it might be harder for you to complete rather than if somebody else had been asking you to do it or if it's for somebody else. So those are some of the weaknesses. So in order to be successful as a counselor, some of the ways that you can be more successful, for one, make your environment where you're going to work fun. Buy colorful or beautiful supplies. Set up your area so it's beautiful to you or energizing and happy to you. All right. Reduce the clutter so you can see the beauty in the space around you. Simplify your systems also. If you're trying to use the complex systems that the administrators like to build, you're probably going to fail because you would much rather focus on other people and experiencing the world around you, communicating, than filing and or maintaining structured systems. So make sure that you use some very simplified systems and set boundaries with other people. That means not keeping things just in case somebody else might possibly want them or need them in the future. Give people back the responsibility for taking care of their own stuff. right? And providing for themselves just in case. And set boundaries that you make sure that you get your things done before helping others. So put on your oxygen mask first, like they say on the airplanes. And work with your energy levels. All right. Your energy will go up and down. Your focus will go up and down. Really take advantage of those times when you have the energy and focus. And some of the times when you don't, it's okay. Forgive yourself and just try again later when your energy is right. So that's our counselors. And just a reminder, if you've not taken the personality quiz, when you take the quiz, you can get a PDF about your personality type afterwards. So make sure to take the quiz, because in that PDF, it will give you a whole lot more information about your type and ways to organize with your type. So take that quiz. The link is in the video description as well as on the screen. Okay, before we go on to the inventor, I want to see really quickly. So Karen is here from Facebook. She says, I am a junk pile mess. A junk pile mess. That means whatever your personality types are, you don't have the system set up for them right now, but we'll get you there. You're in the right place. Hey, Joanna. Joanna is an administrator. Oh, you are not alone in this group. Love it. Deborah's here from sunny and chilly Colorado. Good morning. And Ida says, what is the name of my cute fur baby? Oh, the needy little girl who loves to, whenever I go live on a video, she has this need to hop on and join me. I don't know why, but this is Me Too. And we named her that because she always wants to be included. It seems like she's saying me too all the time. So she's going to be 2 years old in March. Thanks for asking, Ida. She gets away with murder. I love my fur babies. Okay, so we talked about the administrator, our detailed, organized person who loves the structure. We talked about our counselor. There are caregivers, there are communicators, there are big-hearted people who love a beautiful environment and helping others. Let's talk about the inventor. I already saw in the comments we've got an inventor out there. So our inventors, these are creative and fast-moving personality types. Your brain's always going. It's always thinking of creative, new things to do. There are starters, right? So they love to start things. They love new ideas. They love creative solutions, and their mind just enjoys the creation process, and it enjoys thinking outside of the box. There are future thinkers. They aren't stuck in the past. They are thinking about the future, and they have a hard time being in the present moment because they are thinking about the future and go, go, go. And these are our least traditional organizers. So if you are an inventor, those traditional systems will not work for you. They just simply won't if you are a strong inventor. So our inventors, if you are a successful inventor, this is what it looks like. So inventors tend to struggle with finishing projects and having way too many projects on their plate that are not finished. Focus and really getting a whole lot of progress made on a project. Habits, anything with routines or habits, our inventors have a hard time really sticking with those, and those small administrative details. So those are the things that are the hardest for the inventor. So as an inventor, what do you do to be successful? Well, our inventors can benefit from extreme simplification of your systems. This is where your out-of-the-box thinking will really help you. How simple can you possibly make the system? And I have some inventors who do really well without even owning a file cabinet, because you've simplified even your paper files so much that you don't even have a file cabinet, and it makes it much easier. Or going only paperless. A lot of times inventors do a lot better with paperless systems. You don't have to be paperless, but extreme simple, that's it. Also, as an inventor, in order to push through and do the smaller details in the finishing, that can be a struggle. You can increase your motivation by really focusing on what your vision is for this project and finishing it. What will it be like? What is the passion and the emotion behind the project? So use that passion and emotion of the project and of seeing it complete and what it can do to get you to complete the project and do the hard, boring work, right? If it's boring, you have a harder time with it. And work with your energy. You are probably the most variable in energy, with extreme highs, extreme lows, extremely focused, extremely distracted. Work with your energy. When you are on fire and really wanting to work on something, go for it. When you're in the mood to write, skip the task that was on your to-do list if you can and go for the writing tasks. Things like that, and make it fun. If you can turn some of the boring routine tasks into more of a game, you will do better. And the hardest thing is, don't take on new projects until you finish the current project. You can easily start so many projects that you never get around to finishing very many of them, and that starts to weigh on you and make you more distracted. So one in, one out works for organizing. As far as if you buy something new, let something old go to replace that. The same with inventors and your projects. Make sure you finish one before you bring a new one on. All right, so we've got one more type to talk about. Julie is here. She says Julie is here from Akron, and she is an administrator as well. Not surprised. Love it. Aw, thank you. Somebody on Facebook says a cute name for the dog. Lori says, arriving late, she'll listen to the replay. Not a problem, Lori. I'm pretty sure you already told me this, but if not, I'm guessing you're an administrator. I love it. Oh, there you go. Thought I was an administrator, but the successful inventor sounds a lot like me. You might have, and I would not be surprised if your secondary included some inventor in you, because you do like starting things and you're very creative. Vanita says, that's me, that inventor type, huh? I love it. And remember, as I talk about our last one, the CEO, let me know in the comments which one you think I am. A lot of times I surprise people. So which one of these types do you think I would be? So here's the CEO. Ready? And the CEO, we have the fewest CEOs in this group, but that just has to go with that personality type. That personality type is not actually drawn to a group like us as much because they are very much the leaders and focused. They love to be working on the goal, right? They are driven to complete the higher priority tasks. So they love big pictures, they love goals, they thrive on efficiency and making measurable progress. So that's our CEOs. So as a successful CEO, this is what it looks like. A CEO, when they're not set up correctly, a lot of times they have trouble and weaknesses with slowing down in order to finish the final details of a project. So once the project's finished, that filing things and documenting, CEOs are just ready to move on to the next project. They have a hard time finishing up those last little details. They have a hard time with the small details, the ones that they don't see a huge measurable progress with, but that would help them in the future. So things like filing the papers afterwards and such. So our CEOs a lot of times can be way too stuck in the moving on to the next big project and making progress, and they forget to do all of the maintenance that helps keep the boat afloat. So with our CEOs, in order to be successful, using a lot of scanning and broad categories. So paperless is really good for CEOs because you can scan something, give it a good file name, and just dump it in one folder and find it through keywords. It's the fastest way to just document things and move on, right? If you aren't a paperless person, broad categories are for you. Streamlining and having visually clean systems. So having a file cabinet that's nice and neat, not overstuffed, very simple to access and find what you want is going to be really good for our CEOs. Also, scheduling time for organizing. Our CEOs tend to be good at, if there is something on their schedule, then they will complete it. If it's not on their schedule though, then they'll fill up their schedule with other things. So actually getting organizing time onto the schedule is a big help. And then finally, motivating yourself by visualizing why it is important to do the smaller things, to finish things up, to organize, right? Visualize how you can complete future projects much better when you can access the information that you need because it was filed correctly. So the lack of frustration trying to find a file so you can focus on the real big priorities in your life at the time. So motivate yourself through that, visualizing the benefit of these routines. So those are our personality types. I would love to hear which one you think I am and which one you are if you've not told me yet. Terry says, great information. I'll listen again as I see a little of myself in each one. Thanks, Susanna. Yeah, a lot of times we can relate to a lot of them, but there are definitely some that are stronger in us. So make sure to take the personality quiz because not only will it tell you which ones you are, but give you way more information than I was able to cover today for sure. So Lori thinks I'm an inventor. Mary says I sound like a CEO. Francie says Susanna might be an inventor. Well, you guys are right. All three of you are right, actually. Laura says, administrator for me, I think you are too. So professional organizers usually are administrators. That is the most common personality type for a professional organizer, which makes sense, right? Loving the detail and the structure, being really good with routines and systems. But I am primarily an inventor, which is why when I talk about organizing, I focus on the mental side and I focus on some out of the box ways of doing things. And that's why I can step back and help the administrators take a step back and not get overwhelmed. So as an inventor, I am very out of the box. I teach systems that are, for my administrators, I will teach you systems that I would not use because they would be too detailed for me, but they're great for you. So I just loved, I've always loved personality types. And I did a lot of study on organizing and personality and the mental side of it and the psychology of it. So that's why I actually got into organizing because I loved all the different personality types and the mental side and the psychology of it. So with me as an inventor, and then my secondary is surprising to me as a CEO. It's not like I'm strongly inventor. I only have a little CEO in me, but there is some CEO. So inventor CEO, that's right. You guys are smart. I love it. But no, traditionally organizers are administrators. And I think that's why they do really well working with other administrators. And that's why there's more of a traditional organizing type and organizing thinking, which is all set up for administrators. You don't see a lot of out of the box, creative, simplified systems when people talk about organizing, right? Because as administrators, they're teaching other administrators how to organize, but they're missing out on the three other personality types. So a lot of times those traditional systems that they teach don't work for a lot of people. And sometimes if your life is not focused on being able to be organized all the time and you're an administrator and you have other things going on, you're not blessed to be a professional organizer where you get to organize all the time, then it can become overwhelming and you can get backed up and not be able to maintain your systems. So I love using some of my inventor and CEO brain to help teach administrators how to work with the healthy side of their personality type and make it less overwhelming while still being true to that detailed information archive side that they are, those finishers. And I love working with the counselors to help them bring a little administrator techniques in and a little inventor techniques in to make that balanced in between, but still be able to communicate and have that beautiful environment and have fun with it. And of course, my inventors have been there, done that, and sharing some of the creative, because we are the hardest ones to organize for, the inventors, because we a lot of times need something way out of the box that nobody's going to tell you to do. But I love sharing some of those techniques because they are shocking to a lot of people, especially administrators. But as inventors, they actually work. And it's just so much fun. Yeah. Pamela says, I'm a counselor, then an inventor. Oh, that's a fun mix. I love that one. Sue's an administrator counselor. That's a really neat mix too. I love that. I love all our counselors. You guys are just such sweethearts. Lori says, you nailed it. I'm so the counselor with the side of the inventor. Gonna take the quiz and then rewatch the broadcast. Great session. Thanks, Susanna. You're welcome. AM says, a bit late, but I'm here. I'm glad you're here. Oh, Pamela says, I am a licensed psychotherapist, so my scores make sense. That's awesome. Rosella says, I think my personality type is primarily a counselor type with some administrator personality mixed in. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, Rosella, from just being able to get to know you a little bit. That's super, super fun. All right. So what's next, right? What's coming up? Give me a recap. In this recap, tell me, what will you change in order to work with your personality type? What types of things do you think that you would adjust in your life? And I will do a quick recap for us. All right. So we have our 4 personality types. We have the administrator, our traditional organizers who loves the details, great with routines, the go-to person for information, and our finishers. But you can get stuck in the over-organizing, busy work, and perfectionism. So make sure to back off and simplify your systems and really look to see if what you are doing is paying off, if the return on that investment of time and energy that you're getting is really there, or if you're just not getting enough value for the time you're spending. We have our counselors. Our counselors are our communicators, our caregivers. They've got the big hearts. They love to put others first, and they love a beautiful or fun environment. But as a counselor, be very careful not to keep too many things for other people and just in case. Make sure to set some of those boundaries and really get your things done as well, if not before you do for other people. So that way you can give without having the stress of your stuff not getting done. You can give with a full and open and guilt-free heart. And make sure to simplify your systems too. You need to simplify those systems and work with your energy levels and create that colorful or fun or beautiful space. So your space around you matters. Now, my inventors, remember, you guys are that creative and fast moving. I understand you so well. Sometimes you're like a box of kittens that all had Red Bull, because you're just 100 miles a minute. Brain's going, creativity is thriving, and you love to think about the future. You're a starter and you are the least traditional. So you have the hardest time with your habits and with structure and detail. So our successful inventors, remember, you tend to fall into the problem of not being able to keep up with habits, having a hard time focusing on those tiny, small details that are boring a lot of times, keeping your focus, and finishing projects. So make sure that your systems are simplified to the extreme, as simple as you can possibly make them, right? So you can just put things away and get moving to your next project. You can get motivated and get your focus back through focusing on your emotions and passions about the project. Work with your energy, make it fun, but don't take on a bunch of new projects until you have finished the current ones, because you can easily fill your plate way too much and not get anything done and just get overwhelmed. Now, my CEOs, you all are focused. You want to do the highest priority items. You love making progress on the higher priority items and seeing your progress. You love the big picture and you're goal driven. Now, you can fall into the trap, however, of having a hard time slowing down, doing the cleanup, doing the filing when things are done, all the detail work that seems small and it does not seem like it's adding up to that main big picture. That can be really hard for you. So as a CEO, you need to make sure to simplify your systems. You can use scanning and broad categories to help make those systems easier. Also, if you're able to delegate some of these things, if you can do a trade-off with an administrator, administrators and CEOs can work really, really well together. All right. So delegation is great for our CEOs. Also, with our CEOs, have a clean, streamlined workplace. All right. So if your workspace looks clean and nice and neat and productive and it's not distracting, then you will do better with that. So those are our types. Love, love, love it. Let's see. In the type. Okay, so Lori says, I think when I took the test in the past, I was administrator and counselor. Yep. You might have a little inventor in there, but I know that you have to be strongly administrator for sure. Chris says, I need to take the quiz. It's interesting. Oh, yeah. And share that information in the Facebook group too. I'd love to get a chat going in there about all the different types. Mary says, I want to take the quiz to understand more. Yeah, when you take the quiz, remember, you'll get the PDF with even more useful tips about your type. Nancy says, administrator through and through. Love me some details. Joan says, CEO and secondary is inventor. Oh, that's fun. You're kind of like the reverse of me. CJ says she is going to stop over-organizing and her perfectionist tendencies. Yeah, that can be the biggest challenge for administrators for sure. Pamela says, I will honor that my energy goes up and down and I'll work with it. Yeah, that was a hard one for me to learn. But when I learned it, I felt so much better. So much better. Anna says, great. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Joanna says, I need to add a little more beauty and fun to my office. Yes, you do. I love it. Oh, cool. So Melanie is a very close mix of three of them. She's a mix of primarily counselor and inventor, and then very closely administrator, which means those three types, you can mix and match some of the different things that work for those types and see what works best for you. So you don't have one strong tendency pulling you strongly in a specific direction. You're a little bit, you'll have an easier time changing between different styles, which makes it a little bit easier, which is good. Francie says, I need to be okay with simpler systems, avoid thinking like a perfectionist, and just keep it as simple as possible. Yeah, and it takes practice, but the more you do it, the more free you feel. It's wonderful. CJ says, oh my, I'm an administrator, counselor, color coding detail freak. No wonder I'm buried in paper. Time to tell myself, must let go, must let go. Pamela says, this has been one of the most helpful things I've ever heard about organizing. Thank you, Susanna. You're so welcome, Pamela. I'm so glad. Hi, it's Chandra Prakash. That's awesome. I'm glad to have you here. Welcome. Crystal says, I overdo it with files. My question is, should I put credit scores with bank? Yeah, so you've got some administrator tendencies right there. And you know what? I say put them where it makes sense in your mind, because these are your file systems, right? So if bank is the first thing that you think, putting it with banking, then go with banking. Make it your own. I love it. Sue says, I can so relate to CJ. My personality types fight with one another. Ida says, when will the quiz be available? It's available now. So if you go to that quiz link, did I put it on the screen again? I did not. Let me put that back on the screen. It's in the video description. So make sure to take it. You can take it right now. And let's see who else. Hello. Thomas says, I was hoping to get around my bad habit of making it a fun process. Now I know I'm an Inventor CEO and I'm better off actually listening to podcasts and music while tidying. Yes, as an inventor, a lot of times those traditional organizing things that they tell you to do, ignore them. They're not for you. You need to do the opposite. So yes, listen to podcasts and music while you tidy up. Make it fun. I love that. He says, I hate to tidy up. Listening to podcasts made it bearable, but all that listening while doing diffuses my focus and overall concentration. I'll see what I have as a solution for this. So things like tidying up where it's not something you have to really be 100% mentally engaged with, that's the perfect time for podcasts and music. Now, if you need to do super focused work, then music might be fine, but podcasts will just be distracting. So you're going to have to pick and choose when you use the podcasts and music, and pick times where your brain does not have to be really thinking hard And it's a little bit, I guess, just kind of, you just go on autopilot when tidying up sometimes. Jean says, I get started, but I get bored and distracted. Need to do the filing. Yeah, making it fun might help for you too. She says, I think I'm part counselor and inventor. That would make sense. BT says, I jumped in late. Good morning. Good morning, BT. Glad you're here. All right. Well, make sure to take that personality quiz. That one will not be going away in a week. So feel free to take it. If you're watching this later, you can still access that personality quiz. It's a really good one. And coming up for free on May, or not May. Why am I jumping to May? Goodness, give it a break, Suze. I'm way a future thinker. All right, February 6th through 12th. February 6th through 12th, we have our first Unchallenge. This is the free Caregiver Unchallenge. The link to register will be in your email calendar for the month. And I believe in the store soon. So if you get my emails, then that first of the month email with the calendar for the month will have that registration link. It'll also be in the Facebook group once it's ready. So what's an Unchallenge? An Unchallenge is actually a week event where you don't have any tasks to do. I'm just going to spread love, motivation, encouragement with you throughout the week. So it's just a week of lifting you up without taking time from your day to actually tell you to do something and add things to your to-do list. So join me if you're a caregiver, but also you can join me if you're just feeling overwhelmed and really could just use an emotional pick-me-up and sharing some love. If you know any caregivers or anybody, even if you're not a caregiver, if you're going through health issues, then some of the motivation and encouragement is going to be focused on our caregivers and those going through more of a caregiving time. So the free Caregiver Unchallenge will start. It'll be in the Facebook group. And if you register, you'll get little daily love for 1 week in your email inbox. So I hope you join me for the Unchallenge, the only challenge that will not add anything to your plate and will just make you feel better. And also, right now in the store, we have our brand new, this was just released, Caregiver Binder. So if you are a caregiver or if you work with caregivers to help you, then the Caregiver Binder is, it's like the Spark Life Binder, but it is focused on making sure that caregivers can track all of that information, the health information, the daily information, and everything that goes into being a caregiver. So the Caregiver Binder is available in the store at SuzannaKaye.com. It's not going away. There's no deadline to get it. It just released in the store very recently. So check it out. If you know a caregiver or if you are one, just check it out and see what it's about. And just a reminder, in about 15 minutes, I'll see my Path members for our noon exclusive member talk. And we're going to go in depth into how to work with each of these personality types. So I'll give you some specific tips and tricks to make working with your personality type even easier. And if you're not a Pathfinder yet, then please join me. You can hop by the store and become a Pathfinder anytime. Rosella says, I will have to learn more to mix and match some of these other personalities so I can be more successful in my decluttering efforts. Yes, absolutely. Pick the things that work for you. And you can look through some of these different personality types and get some ideas too. So if something's not working, then it can give you ideas of other ways to do it. Sharon says, can you please put the link to the quiz in the chat? I think I can. Let me see. If you are on YouTube, then you should be able to get the quiz link. Here we go. Takes me just a second. All right, so I just added the quiz link to the chat of the Facebook page and YouTube. It won't let me put it in the group from here, but there you go. And it's also in the video description if you need it as well. So that way, wherever you're watching from, when you look through the video description, it's right there. So Thomas says, thank you so much, Susanna. He'll listen to the podcast and music for menial chores and binaural beats, white noise for focus requiring tasks. Good. I think that'll work out for you. All right. Well, you are doing absolutely amazing. I love all that you share with me and watching you do the most amazing things. Keep it up one small step at a time, and you are getting there. I love you so much. I will see you very, very soon. You're welcome, Terry, and have an amazing day. Bye, beautiful.